Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is gonna be a little weird video because it's my first double feature of two different movies. But amazingly, coincidentally, they have a lot in common in that they're both trash. They're both trash, and I enjoyed pretty much both of them. So taking a break from Star Trek Discovery. So today I watched The Dirt on Netflix and Death Wish on Amazon Prime Video. I gotta say, I'm more of an Amazon Prime Video guy. It feels like more of the type of movies I like are on that one. So, anyway, The Dirt is about. I was gonna say it's like a biopic. It's just trash. Like it's awful. The Dirt is a movie about a fake version of every single person related to Motley Crue. I don't know. I think in like the most bare bones Wikipedia version of events, it's fairly accurate. So the funny thing is, I just watched this video Patrick Willems did about how formulaic musical biopics are, and this one was so formulaic, but it just doesn't care. Like, first of all, I have to say about The Dirt, this is so cheap. This feels like it was made in about 2 or 3 weeks. Honestly, it was probably 3 weeks for like the non, concert things, and I'm sure the concert scenes were more complicated, so they probably got another 3 weeks. But this is like cheap. This is probably the cheapest new movie I've seen in years. So it's basically has the production value of an episode of Saved by the Bell, and it's even for almost all the scenes it's basically lit like a game show. Like it's there are all these like skeevy, party scenes, and then they're lit like a freaking episode of The Price is Right. So anyway, it starts. I mean, if have you seen any biopic or musical biopic of the last 40 years? Like all the beats are there, starting when they're kids and they start young and they have some troubles, then they get their big break, then there's some relationships that fall apart and drugs and rehab, and then the big win. Like it is formulaic. The only thing that saves it is two things. Number one, the casting is really good. Like the actors they got to play the members of Motley Crue are all really good. And one thing I'm shocked about is that the rapper Machine Gun Kelly is the one playing Tommy Lee. I did not know that until I like took a break like more than halfway through the movie. First of all, Machine Gun Kelly is covered in tattoos, and half of this movie he's shirtless. So I didn't realize that makeup that hid tattoos worked so good because it just looked totally natural. The other thing is he does a I mean, I've seen him, in interviews and rapping. He seems like to have a very distinct personality and accent, but I totally believed him as Tommy Lee. Like, he did a great job. The guy who plays Vince Neil, I don't know who that is. I didn't really know who any of these people were besides Machine Gun Kelly. He did. Now, again, this is such a cheap film, and the script is trash. Like, the script, it's basically, it almost feels like there's an app where you can turn Wikipedia pages into musical biopics. Like, to say this is by the numbers, it doesn't even get into it. Like, it's literally trash. Um, but then the weird thing is you get these really, really good actors to play trash, and they do a good job. This is directed by Jeff Tremaine. That name might be familiar. He does all the Jackass movies. He does Bad Grandpa. He's the producer of one of my favorite shows ever, Ridiculousness. Oh my gosh! Every time I go to a hotel, there's a marathon of that show, and I watch like 12 episodes in a row, and then I sleep with it playing. Oh my gosh, I love Ridiculousness so much. It's not even funny. But he does a bunch of reality TV shows. So he doesn't have like a director's eye. Everything is just really cheap and trashy. But it kind of works for a cheap biopic about Motley Crue. By the way, my favorite biopic ever is it was on, God, it would have been probably like 2005 2004, 2005, E did a biopic on MC Hammer, and then they show it was like their first original movie, or first or second. They were so proud of it. They showed that movie like 3 times a day for 2 months, and then like a couple times a week for the next year. Oh my gosh, I saw that one a million times. They had Tupac on there, and he's like, what was it? MC Hammer late in his career was signing with Death Row, and he's like, "This is party pop." And then somebody said that, and then Tupac defended MC Hammer. Oh my gosh, I love that. So anyway, this is really really trash, super generic, directed like an episode of The Price is Right, but endearing because the basic broad strokes of their story is endearing. It's a bunch of goofballs starting a band, blowing up, losing their mind, and at the end they're still bros. And that, I think, like I said, the broad strokes of that are probably true. Again, the guy who plays Vince Neil, his daughter dies of cancer really young, and the actor who plays Vince Neil does a really, really good job with that. And then, amazingly enough, and I usually think kids are terrible actors, but the girl who plays his daughter, it's like an Oscar-winning performance. There's just all these like really cheaply directed scenes, and then they have the scenes with her and her dad in the hospital, and it's brilliant. I got to single out 2 other people. The guy who played Nicky Six, I looked him up. I think he's a British guy. He's vaguely familiar. He did a really good job as Nicky Six. And then the guy who played Mick Mars, who I think is also from the UK, really, really good. So I liked it. I don't think I'd ever watch it again. But the thing is, I have extreme like movie and TV ADD, ADHD, whatever you call it. Like, I will seriously watch a movie 1 minute at a time and then go watch something else. I was watching 5, 7, 10 minutes at a time. It moves along really good, and it's really dopey, trashy fun. So then I went into Death Wish, and this one was at first seemed very, very different, and then ended up pretty much the same. By the way, I really can't believe that Death Wish wasn't some kind of minor hit. I looked it up. It was made for 30 million. It made like 48 million worldwide, and that was including like the DVD sales and it's a flop. But it's good. I remember getting good reviews and word of mouth when it came out. So it's the old Charles Bronson. I'm probably not getting out that yawn, but I might. The old Charles Bronson franchise. It's with Bruce Willis, and you say, "Oh, that's going to be a big hit," and then it just wasn't. But this movie is actually pretty good. So the first 15, 20 minutes are kind of grim death. It's very, very generic. And again, like, the director is Eli Roth. I don't think I've ever seen an Eli Roth movie. I've heard good things about him. I heard he does really trashy genre, shoot 'em up and horror flicks. The only thing I know him from is Intolerable Bastards, Insolent Bastards, Important Bastards, Intransigent Bastards. I'm totally blanking on what it is. Inconsolable Bastards? Incontrovertible Bastards. The Incredible Bastards. What is it? I can't. I'm just blanking on it. I know it starts with an I, but I remember him as he played the Bear Jew. He was the guy who hits people with a baseball bat, if I remember correctly. It's a Joe Carnahan. I know Joe Carnahan from the A-Team movie, which I love. So anyway, the first 20 minutes are grim death, and they're literally shot like an Allstate commercial. Like, it is so generic. It also has something that I freaking hate in movies and TV shows. It's when an adult is being bullied and it's being presented as something that's like dramatic. It's like, I feel like if you're older than like your 20s, and if someone's being like a jerk, as long as they're not punching you or assaulting you, you should have like the maturity to just be able to like just ignore them and just go back on with your day. So they did this like really cheesy like bully scene that goes absolutely nowhere. Usually when you have a bully scene, he gets his comeuppance later, and he's just not in it at all. It's just dumb. But then the family gets the wife and daughter get shot while the main character is performing surgery. He feels guilty because he didn't defend his family, and then he starts to track down the people and then random other people, and it's just good. It goes from the most generic like TV direction. The thing about TV direction is even people who are stylish, like they're supposed to conform to the style of the. So you don't get to do your own flair. Like you gotta purposefully be bland, and so it goes from like the blandest TV direction to it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. And like a good one of the things I like about it is they don't draw stuff out. We don't have to have the scene of him buying a gun and then he almost shoots someone and then he tries to shoot someone and he misses and then he gives up and he comes back. No, he just gets a gun and he shoots someone. And then the next scene he goes after this like drug dealer and he's like, who are you? He's like, oh, the guy who kills you. And he just shoots him in broad daylight like 6 times right there in the chest. It's from like 10 feet away, so it's a pretty easy shot. And then it's, it's kind of simple. There are some kind of twists, but it's basically just him, finding his whole thing is that he just goes there and you think, oh, look at this lame ass middle-aged white guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm super lame. Oh, I just shot you 6 times in the chest. Didn't see that one coming. There's even a point where the gangster pulls his gun out. He already has his gun out, but he just thinks this is some nerd from the suburbs. So it's basically him just getting the draw on people. And then there are some pretty good scenes. One of the things that I actually stopped to go talk to my buddy who's really into guns. I go, you're never gonna believe what happened in this movie. 2 things. Number 1, a guy got injured because he wasn't doing proper weapons handling. And the slide came back, and it's called I think it's called slide bite, and so he gets an injury on his hand. The other thing that happens is he has a misfeed in the middle of a firefight, and he has to clear the misfeed. And my buddy who's all into guns, I was really into that. He was really really into it because he couldn't believe it. I was like, they never have that in movies. Like, oh, I know, seriously. The only other thing, because he likes to collect guns and shoot guns, and I was in the military. So I go, the only thing I've never seen in a movie is hot brass down the back of your neck. I don't think I've ever seen that. That's one of those realities of shooting. But yeah, what is it? Failure to feed, failure to fire, tap, rack, bang, and all that type of stuff. I mean, this is a pistol, but you saw where the round didn't. It was either the round or the brass didn't eject properly, and it was kind of stuck there, so it wouldn't cycle the next round. I don't know. That was really, really. I was really into it. There's this kind of subtle humor. The first third of it, I go, where is this? Smart humor that I've heard this movie has, and it does have it. So basically, what happens is he starts teaching himself how to be a vigilante, as Tom Green would say, a vigilante. Oh, you're a vigilante. But he's watching YouTube videos about, how to shoot and how to destroy a hard drive. It's just kind of fun and funny, and it's trashy and it's stupid. And it's one of those things you're like, why isn't this guy arrested? But it's one of those things where the cops are kind of okay with him as long as he, shoots a couple bad guys and then quits, which he does. But it was just fun. These were both fun. I've for people who don't know about my other channel, I review comics, but I also make comics. So I've had these 2 books, and they've kept me really, really busy for the last almost a year. So I'm just used to working 7 days a week. And today I just kind of chilled out and watched 2 trashy movies, and I had the best time. I would actually recommend both of these movies to basically anyone, as long as you're not a super uptight cine, what do they call it, cineast, film connoisseur. If you like trashy dumb movies that are both weirdly lit like game shows for half of them, go see them. The Dirt on Netflix and Death Wish is on Amazon Prime Video. Anyway, thanks for watching. And yes, I probably will do another episode of Star Trek Discovery tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.